Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're all safe and well. Welcome to Brooksy's Base Corner, live chat number 20. I can't tell you where 20 live chats have gone, but they've certainly happened. You're very welcome. It's great to see you guys out there. I can see there's a few people watching already, so that's great to see. Hope you're all doing great. It's been very warm here in the UK. And it looks like we've got a return of the furnace coming later this week. It's going to hit mid-30s, possibly a bit more. Who knows? So preparing for some very hot days here in London in the UK. This is Brooksy's Base Corner. You're very welcome to attend. You're very welcome here. As I said, this is live chat number 20. You can get involved in this if you're on the mobile app underneath the video. If you're watching on a mobile device, there is a chat window and you can put your questions and comments in there, and as soon as I see them start appearing on the chat window here on my laptop, I can respond to them. If you're on the desktop platform, the chat window is on the right hand side of your screen. Again, you got any questions, comments, anything you would like to add into the live chat, put them in there, and as soon as I see them pop up, I'll respond to them. Thank you very much to all the new subscribers. I've had quite a surge in new subscribers to the channel in the past week. So we did live chat number 19 last Monday. Today's number 20. Seen a very sharp increase in subscriber numbers, which is great. Thank you very much if you're a new subscriber. Thank you very much if you're an old subscriber. I'm just pleased some people are enjoying what I do here on the channel and are enjoying the live chats, enjoying the video content. If you are just watching as a casual viewer, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I won't blow you out with 101 notifications every single day like some channels. My phone goes nuts during the day to channels I've subscribed to, but I don't do that. I don't bombard you with 100 notifications and video uploads every day. So if you enjoy the content, enjoy the video, enjoy this video, enjoy the live chat, if you hit the subscribe button, it benefits this channel. So that is very much appreciated. If you want to know when new content is going up and what we're doing here on the channel, if you hit the notification bell, which is below the video and to the right hand side, you will have a number of options there. You can either have no notifications, highlighted notifications, or you can be notified every time I do anything on the channel. So that's up to you to decide how you want notifications to come through. And if you're enjoying this live chat, you know, by all means hit the thumbs up. That really helps. And actually any of the videos on the channel, if you're enjoying what we're talking about and what we're doing, thumbs ups are always good. Very good. The algorithm likes a thumbs up. If you've got any questions or comments about any videos in particular, and you're watching this live chat or listening to it after the event, you can always put a comment in the comment section below a video, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. Won't always necessarily be within about 30 seconds of you posting it, because if I'm driving somewhere or I'm performing on a show, I can't obviously reply. I can't stop a 1,500 person audience show and go, hold on a minute, just got to do a response to a question on one of my videos. So so you can always comment after the event, and especially on these live chats, if you watch them after they've happened, you can still communicate, you can still interact. You just can't do it live, obviously, because the chat will have finished. But I'll still come back to you anyway. What else have I got to tell you? Obviously. So while we're on this video, in the chat window, you will see there are three icons. There's a poll bar chart, which is for my benefit, not necessarily for yours. There's also an emoji icon, so you can add emojis to the chat if you so wish. And there's also a $sign, which allows you to donate to the channel. So that's called a super chat. So if you're enjoying what we do on this chat, or you just enjoy watching the channel and the videos I put up, if you hit that, you can donate to the channel. So that allows me to buy items that are going to get reviewed, or it allows me to buy For example, the video that went up last week was cleaning my status graphite empathy base, which is here. Funding the channel allows me to buy products to do all those videos. It allows me to buy studio time so that I can do bigger videos, and it also allows me just to keep the channel moving and to keep, you know, to prolong the life of what we're doing here. Hopefully this is going to be a long-term project in my mind, so I'm not planning on going anywhere soon, but yes, if you wish to donate financially to the channel, that would be very much appreciated. And also, that doesn't have to be confined to just when I do a live chat with the super chat facility. All the videos on the channel, in fact all the videos on YouTube that are monetized, below the video window you'll see the usual thumbs up and thumbs down, share button, save button. You'll also see a love heart with a dollar symbol in, and that's called super thanks. So if you enjoy a specific video or a specific channel, it just gives you that facility again. Oh, I really like this video, I like what the guy's doing, or what the girl's doing if it's a female content creator. You can click on that button, and yet again you can donate to either my channel or their channel or whatever the video is tied to. So those options are there if you so wish. News for the channel. So last Monday I said the experiment video regarding this status empathy. So if you watched last week or even the week before, which would have been live chat number 18, so last week was 19, one before was 18. So last week a video went up which is basically how to clean and set up a status graphite empathy, which is this base. It didn't apply just to this base. If you've got a status base and it's not an empathy, the video will be equally good for you. If you've got any base, you might learn something in that video. But one reason for doing the setup and the cleanup and putting new strings and changing the batteries and doing everything was I am going to do a video that is an experiment. In fact, it'll be a series of videos. It's an experiment, partly because it's I regularly get asked, and it's a question any bass player with a few years on the clock gets asked by people who are starting out. It can be people who've been playing for many years, and they'll say, what string should I use? How long does a set of bass strings last? How many gigs do you get out of a set of strings? And when should I change them? So I'm going to do an experimental series of videos. So this bass has a brand new set of strings. It's done a couple of gigs now. And we're going to see over the next 4 to 6, potentially longer, months, exactly how these strings change over time. So unless a string breaks, and then I've got to change them, these strings could go on and on and on and on and on for over 100 gigs. Personally, I don't think that is going to be the case, but I think they're going to get a fairly lengthy lifespan on this bass. I kind of did something similar years and years ago before the channel started, and it wasn't an experiment. It was just I had a set of strings on, brand new, and I was doing gig after gig after gig, and when I went through the diary and worked out how many gigs they'd done, it was quite a lot. So I just want to see how long they will last this time round, and there will be a video or 2 or 3 each week, and there'll be a little intro from the gig I've used the bass on, and then I'll be saying how they've changed, if they've changed, and how they sound. So that's coming up very shortly, but the idea was that was going to get uploaded last week. Unfortunately, again, life and concerts and gigs and having far too many things to do and not enough hours in the day prevented me uploading that video. Well, it's all edited, it's ready to go. So probably tomorrow. Worst case scenario will be Wednesday, but I have a feeling I'll have time to do it all tomorrow. The reason being, there's no point launching a video and then not being able to promote it with social media and other stuff online. So rather than just chuck a video up and walk away from it, I kind of got to do the promotion side of it to try and get the biggest viewing base I can. So hopefully that video will be up tomorrow, and you'll start seeing the individual gig videos as we start to go on this journey to see just how long these strings are going to last and how they change as we get through like 10, 15, maybe 20. could be 30, could be 40, could be 50. You're going to see it all here. I'm going to do it, and you'll see all the little gig videos as we go through. So there. So hopefully that will be appearing tomorrow, that video. And anyone who's watched the past couple of Mondays when we've done the live chat, I keep tempting you with pedal review videos, and there's a couple of bass review videos. Again, without the time to promote the videos, it's just daft just slinging them up and hoping for the best. So in order to get some gold stars from YouTube and the algorithm, I need to put the effort in when I put those videos up and really push them and promote them online. So they're there and they're waiting to go. Thankfully, I've got quite a bit of time this week that I can put into doing all this. So do not be surprised if you start to see a flurry of activity here on the channel with quite a few videos. So that'll be good. And let's think what else we've got coming up. There's a couple of vintage interviews that I've got in the vault, which I've started editing up. I won't give the game away, but there's a few, and these hark back to Bass Guitar magazine interviews that have been published years ago, but I've still got the audio files, and I own the copyright on them, so they're going to come up onto the channel quite soon. And I think the ones I'm going to use first, there is no other interview footage on the channel from those individuals, so so it's not yet another Billy Sheehan interview or another Nathan East video, although there are a few of those there in the vault as well. No, these are bass players who have never been interviewed on the channel before. So those will be coming up very shortly, and hopefully a few more workshop videos, because I'm now out gigging regularly, doing regular shows. The basses here are obviously out being used, so there's a couple of basses here that haven't had any kind of fettling or setting up or new strings for a couple of years. So as I'm out using them, a couple of them could probably do with a bit of workshop TLC. So there'll be a few more of those videos coming up, and you'll see me using all the different products, and we'll do things like setting up and dealing with fret ends on a bass where the fret end, well, basically the timbre is shrunk and the fret end has expanded past the point that it should have. So there'll be some of that. We'll do how to set up the most popular basses. So we'll have a couple of precisions and some jazzes and some stingrays, and I'll show you how to set those up. And then pretty much we can carry on with that style of content, or if there's something you would like to see, or if there's a product out there you'd like to see reviewed, maybe something that's just about to come onto the market. If you've, you know, if there's a put teeth in. If there's a particular bass or effect pedal or amplifier or a particular accessory, I get a lot of questions about gig bags and straps and leads all the time. So it's hard to do a video on one little thing like that. Maybe a comparison video on gig bags or straps. And if that's something that would interest you, then let me know via the chat window here. And I read everything you guys post up on here, so if there's something that sort of becomes a bit of a trend, like a particular effect pedal that's about to come out, if you guys want to see it, then you let me know. So yeah, so that's kind of the news on the channel. So what have I been up to? So spoke to you guys last Monday on the live chat. So this weekend I just did a couple of Queen tribute shows. One was with a band called Supreme Queen, who were fabulous. Standing in for the regular bass player. The Freddie was outstanding. I'd met him before, we'd spoken several times, but I'd never actually gigged with him. I knew what to expect though, because I'd seen a couple of his shows. And it was really something else, and the gig was fabulous. There might be some footage I can put up on the channel, because I filmed some of it, and you can hear what this guy does. I mean, it was like a volcano going off, stood next to him, and he really had the Freddie's power vocal, as I call it, when he really kind of digs deep and goes for it, was there. So that was a theatre show down in Torquay. which went great, and great audience, great crowd. Everything went great. I can't. The only down point was the excessively long drive from London down to Torquay, which was just shy of about 200 miles each way. So that was a lot of driving. And then Saturday I did another Queen tribute with This Is Queen, and that was down in a place called Radstock in the West Country. And again, went great. We had a great night. Crowd loved it. I think the organizer has already tried to rebook us either for later this year or next year. So we'll see if that happens, see if that one comes off. So I need to promote Road to Sound. I have the Road to Sound t-shirt on this evening. Good evening to Jason Howe and the team. Hope you're all well out there. Flying the flag for Road to Sound. Fabulous strings. And that's kind of where we are really this week. What have I got? Potentially a pub show with a band that I've never played with before, but the guy who's going to be playing drums is actually a bass player generally, and he's asked if I'll come play bass, so I'm just waiting for confirmation that one's going to happen. And then I'm with Uncle Funk, the disco funk show band that I play in. That is an outdoor festival at a place called Strode Park in Herne Bay in Kent, and that's on Saturday evening, and it looks like it's going to be very, very hot, so we will see. If I don't see you again, you know that I flaked out on that gig, but hopefully everything should go well. But it should be a really good night. Tickets are selling very well, I'm led to believe, so we will see how we go. Okay, onto the live chat. I can see Stacey from North Carolina's there. Would love to hear the Freddie Power vocal. I bet you would. Well, maybe you will. We'll see. I'll go through the footage. I haven't actually watched it myself yet. But if there's something I can edit up and I can put it up, then I will. The only issue for me is with Queen songs on there, there will be a copyright issue. So it's whether it gets pulled down and whether I end up with a copyright strike, which I don't really want. What I might have to do is maybe a speeded up video with something non-Queen, so you won't really be able to hear it. We'll see. I need to check that out. If I put something up and I get hit with a copyright strike, it kind of defeats the object, but we shall see. But thank you for attending. Good to see you. Hope you've had a good week. So there we go. So if you're watching this live video, this is I'm Mike Brooks. This is Brooksy's Bass Corner, live chat number 20. If you've watched any of the other videos on the channel and you've enjoyed them, thank you very much. Really appreciate all the comments. And I know a lot of you out there kind of watch the videos because I see daily. I've on the other side of this camera, I can see my screen and I can see how many people are watching videos at this current moment. Loads of people are watching the videos, which is great, but I don't get a lot of comments. It's kind of a lot of passive video watching. I can make the channel better and improve the videos and kind of get an idea of the content that you guys want to see if you interact with the video. So even if you don't like it, if someone goes, well, I don't like the way you presented that, or the way you've done that bass demo, you know, you didn't go through enough of the different sounds and tones. It's all good feedback. I can work off that because then I think, okay, well, that guy's pointed out that I need to kind of up my game on how I deliver those demos. So, you know, if there's something on the channel that you agree with or you disagree with, or you really like a video and you'd like to tell me, or you absolutely hate what I do, that feedback's all good, because without any feedback or any comments or any interaction with you guys, I don't know what's working and what isn't, other than viewing figures and how long you watch a video for. So the kind of two-way interaction is a real plus for me. So yeah, so if you've got any ideas of things you'd like to see, maybe something you want to see reviewed and no other channels have showed a review of that, or you'd like to see a comparison of something, if you let me know and I can get hold of the equipment, or I can buy it, or I can borrow it, I can get that stuff up for you guys, because it's basically what I'm producing the stuff for. There's no point in me putting videos up if no one's going to watch them. So yes, so tonight, here we are, live chat number 20. If you've got any questions, you want to talk about bass, you want to talk about gear, bass guitars, amplifiers, you want to talk about effects pedals, or you want to talk about some of the stuff in this rack, or you want to talk about gigs, or you'd like some advice on gigs or gear. If you want to talk about any of the content on the channel, if you'd like to talk about my career as a bass journalist for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player Magazine, fire those questions into the chat window and I will reply as quick as I can. If you want to ask any questions about setting up a bass or cleaning it, going back to the video that went up last Monday, feel free. If you've bought a pack of something like this, a guitar maintenance kit from Jim Dunlop System 65, and you have not got a clue how to use it, ask me. I might be able to help you. There's no point having something like this and it just sitting there. He says, with that having been in the background for 5 weeks. But I have another set in the garage, you see, so that all gets used. And as I said earlier, if I do some more workshop videos, you can see all the different products get used for doing different jobs. So yeah, so I can see there are people out there. I can see you watching because I can see the numbers on the camera on the live feed. So if there's anything you'd like to ask, stick it in there in the chat window and I will reply. If we don't get any input, then we won't make it an hour. But if there's anything you guys want to talk about, if there's any bass guitarists, legends, big players, big name players you'd like to talk about, if there's anyone that I've already interviewed on the channel, or you've listened to the interview, or you've even read some of my interviews in the past for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player, if you want to ask anything, you know, what are those people like? You know, I'm more than happy to ask. As long as I'm not going to get into trouble, I'll give you a reply. If you want to know what John Taylor from Duran Duran was like when I interviewed him, I'll happily tell you. I wasn't in the room though. It was a phone interview. If you want to know what it was like to meet Jack Bruce or Chris Squire, both of whom sadly are no longer with us, those were both in-person interviews. And actually the Jack Bruce one I still haven't put up yet. I need to edit that. The Chris Squire one is already on the channel. If you've not heard that, that goes back to June 2014 when Yes were promoting, I think it was Heaven and Earth. It was the album that came out before Chris died. So, and that interview is already on the channel. It's an audio interview, so basically it's the recording from the interview I did for Bass Guitar Magazine. So there's no video footage of me talking to him. There's, I think there's a still, a Rotosound advert still on there. But he was great, you know. He was huge, but he was great, and he was a little reticent to get involved in conversation at the start. I think primarily because A, he just arrived, B, he hadn't had a glass of wine at that point, and also the thought of having to do, I think he was doing about 7 or 8 interviews that day, kind of filled him a bit with dread. But I tried to put him at ease, and being a huge Yes fan, I was trying to ask pertinent questions, and I think he kind of gathered I knew my stuff and I'd done my research. So yeah, once he warmed up a little, he I couldn't stop him talking really. But he was great, and he was very very good with me, so that was cool. And actually, talking of sort of heroes and inspirations, I've just reconnected with a guy called Derek Taylor. Some of you may know that name, some of you may not. You may have absolutely no clue who I'm talking about. So Derek was the original bass player for Andrew Roachford in the 80s and 90s. And as I recall, I think he worked with him up until about 1998, 99. And then for whatever reason, he moved on. He ended up being a session player, worked for people like Gabrielle, and a lot of the kind of British soul singers of that time. Well, Derek and I have been friends on Facebook for years. I think he came off Facebook because literally he reached out to me last week, completely out of the blue, on Instagram and said, I've read some of your stuff, some of your magazine reviews and what have you. And I'm really impressed. Could you give me a hand? I'm looking at changing my bass rig and my equipment. I was wondering if you could give me some input and point me in the right direction to some really good gear. So we had a bit of a chat, we caught up, and he clearly remembered our conversations on Facebook and what have you. The thing is, Derek Taylor to me is a bass god. I really looked up to that guy when I was just starting out. And when Roachford came out with Cuddly Toy, Family Man, Kathleen, first album, I was absolutely sold, hook, line and sinker. And I still think Cuddly Toy is an amazing song now. Production on that first album is great. But Derek was a real god for me. And kind of through what Roachford did and Derek himself was doing bass wise, and you'd see Roachford on all the TV programs here in the UK all the time through sort of 89, 90, and the band took a step back, did the second album. You saw the promotion for Get Lucky, the second album. Get Ready, sorry, not Get Lucky, Get Ready. And I would sit there agog, both the way the guy played, but also every time he was on telly, he had a different bass and a different amp. And clearly he was getting gear just thrown at him left, right and centre from all the manufacturers at the time. And we had a chat about that last week. And I was saying, so what happened to the white, to the yellow Warwick Thumb 5? And what happened to that? What about the blue Stingray? And it was just, he went, oh God, I can't remember. He said, probably traded it in for something else. And anyway, we're having a right old chat. So that was great. And it turns out he is now holding down the bass chair on a Bob Marley musical, I think at the Lyceum Theatre in central London. But it's definitely at one of the big theatres. And I'm going to go down and see him at some point. Maybe even, if I'm really cheeky and he's up for it, we might do an interview. And I could really put my my Roachford fan t-shirt on and go to town and ask him some real in-depth stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. But it was great to touch base with him. And the fact that, you know, he contacted me to say, can you give me some pointers on the good gear? Funnily enough, the first thing I was going to suggest was the Aguilar gear, because that's what I'm using. And also the DB751 is basically one of the best, well, in my view, the best amplifier out there. And lo and behold, he had already been looking at that. He had, I think he played through one on another show somewhere and just thought, this is great. So I think he's actually now bought one. But he's pairing it, I think, with Mark Bass cabs. So whether he's using the cabs on the show or whether it's just the amplifier and then he's going to in-ears or monitoring after that, I don't know. So that's another conversation, but we'll see. We'll see. But it was great to touch base with him. And I was firing questions at him left, right and centre, because without Derek, I probably wouldn't have discovered Sly and the Family Stone. I was aware who Larry Graham was, but I hadn't really kind of, when you find a player that you like and you relate to, you then kind of work back through their influences and go back to the source. And Derek's playing and what Andrew and Roachford as a band did and what they grew up on was a huge influence on me when it came to going back and looking, you know, the figures of funk and where all of that comes from, and then soul and the way Roachford integrated rock. You know, they were coming from a Sly Stone and a Hendrix kind of thing. But were it not for Derek, I probably wouldn't have been as I wouldn't have gone and done my research as early as I did. So when he came on the scene, I would have been 16. So yeah, so I was getting pointers, you know, this is the stuff you need to look at and listen to. And we didn't have the internet, we didn't have YouTube. You literally had to go out and buy the CDs or find vinyl and cassettes. And you know, when these people came to town, when they came to London, you wanted to go and see them, you know, buy the ticket. You want to see this godfather of, you know, rock bass and funk bass and what have you. So that's all part of it. We've got people doing stuff. Here we go. Thank you, guys. Andy Watt, good evening. Welcome, my friend. Hope you're well. Nice to meet someone you looked up to. In my line of work, on all the gigs I've done and the people I've met, and the interviews and stuff I've done for the magazine, if you had told me as a 16-year-old and growing up through my career, you're going to meet these people and you're going to have interactions with them, you're going to have phone conversations, you're going to stand at bars with them and drink and have a chat and a laugh, I wouldn't have believed you. And who was it I was talking to? Billy Sheehan last year. And I made the point to him that if in 1991, when I was soaking up everything that Lean Into It as an album had to offer, and watching Billy Sheehan do live clinics at the Bass Centre in Wapping, if you had then told me that 30 years later, I would still be a working musician, making an all right living, okay, I would be a writer for originally Bass Guitar Magazine and then bass player, and 3, I'd have the ability to talk to Billy Sheehan on a semi-regular basis, I guess, so and do interviews with him and buy a drink for him, and he'd buy a drink for me, and we talk about things, and then I would write the liner notes for the super deluxe box set of Lean Into It. I wouldn't have believed any of that. That wasn't a realistic, how do you get to do those things? Yet over time it's happened. So, you know, it's lovely to meet someone you look up to. Andy Watt, Fafner, yes sir, 2 in the rack. Those are what I used to use. I'm currently an Aguilar Endor C, but I do still have all my EBS gear. Totally different sound to the Aguilar stuff, which is why I keep it. If they sounded the same, the Fafners would probably have gone, but no, they sound totally different. And the reason there's 2 is I had one. The first one I bought in 2002, and in 2011 it blew up when I was passed a kettle lead by a stupid man who should have checked the fuse in it, and it had a 3 amp fuse. It needed to be a 13 amp fuse. Gave me a 3 amp fuse kettle lead. I put it in the amp, it just went bang, and that was the end. So the next day I went and found a second-hand Fafner, which had barely been used, and that was the backup. So there we go. So yeah, 2 Fafners. How about that? It's rare you see one, to have 2. There we go. He's not going to need huge power for a musical. No, he's not. So probably small Mark-based cab or in-ears. I think he's going to be using in-ears, but I think also because Derek has been around, I mean, his career is fairly lengthy. I think he's trying to cover all the bases, if you like. So he's looking for a new rig setup that will be able to do all the stuff he's doing. So yeah, but you know, if I can tap him up for an interview, and I will ask all these questions, and you guys will get to see it. And he's great. And I met him at the start in February 1998, which is how we kind of, well, that was our first meeting. And we were talking at the Bass Centre, and I was saying, you know, I'm a huge fan of your playing and everything you've done with the band. And Roachwood were on a promotional tour for the 4th album at the time. And he gave me his number, and I actually used him to acquire, I don't know what the word is, acquire a band to go to Moscow for 2 weeks of shows back in 1998, putting a disco band together, and I needed players that could do that. And at the time, I just didn't have enough contacts who were willing to go to Moscow for 2 weeks. And he put me in touch with a guitar player, and that guitar player had a brother that played Hammond organ and keys, and he knew a girl that sang, and it was just, and we just ended up with a band. So through Derek, I got to do that trip, and he'll probably totally forget all that. He won't have any he won't recall any of that. But so that was that. And then when he came onto Facebook, so I think that probably would have been around 2010, 2011. I think I added him as a friend, sent him a message, and he remembered who I was, and here we are another 11 years down the line, and yeah, talking. It's good to talk. You're 52, remember that era well on bass. I mean, there was so many programs on TV with bands on, and you know, music shows. It was great, very rich, a rich time to sort of come up through that, and been to have experienced all the new gear that was coming out and the technological changes that were going on in bass. I'd only just started playing. So this was like, as a 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old, I was like a sponge. You were taking all those influences wherever they were coming from, you know. I remember working out Addicted to That Rush back in the early 90s. I think we all did. If we were fans of Billy Sheehan, you know, a lot of us will probably have the same bass influences. It'll be Mark King, it'll be John Taylor, it'll be Pino Palladino, it'll be, take your pick. I mean, there were just so many at that time. And you had all the guys that had come through the 60s and 70s. And I think we all did, and suddenly Billy Sheehan sort of crash landed like this alien from outer space almost. Sort of came in from that direction. Most of us were all looking like that, and we were copying Mark King and John Taylor. Suddenly Billy Sheehan sort of went boom like that. And yeah, those first 2 or 3 Mr. Big albums, I think a lot of us sort of sat there and woodshedded for some immense amounts of time, because it just was something totally different. Stacey from North Carolina, it's been an amazing ride, man. What, tonight? I don't know. What, tonight? My whole career? The life of this channel? I don't know. You need to be more specific. I don't know what you're referring to. Okay, Andy Watt, you started in 87. Well, the same year then. I started in October. But I'd had the idea for a couple of months before that. It was just how to go about it. And I've said on many a live chat before, you know, my introduction was one of the English teachers at my school putting up a note on the music room message board. Does anyone want bass lessons on a Thursday lunchtime? Me. And I was the only one in the school that replied to it. So I literally had this guy teaching me bass lessons every Thursday lunchtime for about 4 weeks. And then he said, you've got all the inspiration you need in the music you like and the players you like. And, you know, I was borrowing the school bass and taking it home at weekends. He said, I can teach you the basics and where the notes are and how patterns work. He said, but you're doing it all on your own anyway. He said, there's not really much. He said, you'll be surpassing me soon. So that was that. And once I bought my first bass, which would have been January 88, off we went and haven't looked back. You learned a lot of Stu Ham as well. Yeah, it was all that time. I mean, we had so many people to kind of look up to. I kind of feel a bit sorry for the kids at the moment, because it's like there aren't a huge amount of new players coming through. And as these guys pass away, you know, certainly back in late 2015, 2016, a few players went last year. You know, the numbers are thinning out. So it's a worry, but it is what it is. But, you know, the music side of things and music shows on TV and how people consume their music has all changed. It's not what it was. Stacey, yes, your career. Yes. You've only known about it for about 3 or 4 years, but yes, it has been colourful, I think would be a fair description. Colourful. I've put in the miles, put it that way. You know, done over 4,000 gigs, so, you know, these hands can tell a few stories, that's for sure. Andy, sound control in Dundee. I started with a Hohner Arbor. Remember that name very well. I started with a Marlin Sidewinder, Black Sparkle, Humbucker, and a precision pickup. And that stayed with me for, now, when did I sell that? I think I sold that in it was either 89 or 90. I think it was 89. So I had that in January 88, and by October 88 I'd also bought a Hohner jack bass, one of the wooden ones, the active version. And then I sold the Sidewinder and bought a Fender Precision Light, Black Sparkle, again, that's here. Bought that on my 18th birthday, still got it. And the next purchase was my pink Kabiki Factor, which is over there in the rack. And then it all goes ballistic from there. Many a bass purchase after that. You bought a sparkly white Hohner Arbor. I tell you, we're kids of the 80s, aren't we? Let's be fair. Humbucker in the J position, though. Yeah, I think I remember that. Hohner were great for the money. You know, they got between Hohner, Encore, Marlin, and the Squires. You know, there was no excuse not to pick up a bass. They really weren't that expensive. But even now, the quality of what is out in that price range is so good. You know, it really is. I mean, anyone that's saying, oh, you know, cheap basses aren't that good. Okay, watch, there's 2 videos on the channel for Harley Benton Marquis basses. There's a 4-string and a 5-string. I reviewed them for the mag. I've done the demos already, are on here on the channel. There will be review videos of those coming up very soon. Those basses are 250 quid, or they were when I reviewed them. I have a feeling they've actually now dropped around £200 each here in the UK. Now, with a cheaper bass, you really are at the mercy. You could have 10 of them and they all play differently, sound differently, feel differently. But I have to say, both of those Marquis basses, the 4-string and the 5-string, were possibly the best basses I have ever played for £250 or less. Outstanding. Outstanding. Now, someone else could go and buy one of them and it's, you know, the quality control might not be as good. But the two examples I had here were beyond belief, and I'll stand by that. Anyone that doesn't agree, that's fine. Show me a better bass for less than 250 quid. But you can hear and see those demos. They're on the channel already, and I'll put links to everything that I refer to that's on the channel in the description box below after this video goes live on the channel tomorrow. Let's see. Oh, there's amazing new players out there, plenty of them. I'd like to see some of them. I mean, yes, clearly there are players out there, but there's no real young up-and-coming players with huge, what I call band profile or artist profile. A lot of the kids coming up are YouTube players. So we've got Charles, I can't remember what his Benout, I don't know. And I see these kids in the magazine and it's all covered on there, but I don't see a big name bass playing presence that's coming up that is doing big stadium tours. I don't see another player to have the impact of a Mark King, as Mark King had an impact here in the UK, which basically got people off their backsides and go and pick up an instrument and try to emulate what he was doing. Or, you know, the way John Taylor could make kids would watch what Duran Duran were doing, going, I really want to do that, and I kind of want to look like him, and I just don't see that. But that's just my view. Maybe I'm too busy to not have paid attention to people that are doing that. Henrik, yeah, that guy's, the guy that EBS endorsee, Henrik Landers, is that his name? I can't remember. The brain is firing at 100 miles an hour when I'm on a live chat, so you have to go with that. You still have a Hohner B-Bass 5, very similar look to the Jack. Is that the red one? I think I did a red one and a black one. And they had the drop tuner was on the bridge, as I recall. And they went from doing a headless version to the headed version as well. So you could have one with a pointy head. So, see, all these cheaper basses from that time were very good. The Squire Affinity range is amazing. Yeah, I did a Squire review at the gallery in Camden in August 2019, and it was a Squire Classic 60s, and it was blue with a tortoiseshell scratch plate. And I've said this before on a live chat, that bass was priced at about 340 quid, and there were basses in that shop that were between £2,500 and £4,000, custom shop models, you know, every perfection, and that Squire beat virtually all of them hands down. I tried them while I was reviewing it. I thought this is going to be interesting. Plugged that Squire in and it had lively, tight jazz sound, all the tones you'd want, power, just sounded amazing. And there were other basses there, £3,500, custom shop Fenders, you know, exquisite luthier rare basses you don't see very often. And this this Squire just completely wiped the floor with them. Couldn't believe it. And the review went in the Bass Guitar magazine and Bass Player. So yes, I totally get what you're saying there. The Squire Affinity range is amazing. It can be, as with any cheap bass. Go to us if you're going to buy one, and you can go to a store where they may have several examples of the same model and try them all. Take every bass on its own merits. Don't pick one up and it plays great and think, oh well, I'll just have another one from out the back, out of a box. It won't be the same, I can tell you now. But generally, you know, anytime you're buying a bass, you can buy unseen online if you want, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same. You know, if you're reading a review or watching a video on YouTube, it might be on my channel or another bass player's channel. Take every bass on its own merits. Don't assume that one is going to play exactly the same as a carbon copy next to it. because they might not. You've got one from GAC. I'm upgrading with 62 custom pickups, Fenders or something else. I have experience of Aguilar 60s jazz pickups, and they're great, really good. Although I think if I go down that road again, I'll use the hum cancelling versions rather than the 60s model. And actually, if anyone's out there and they're thinking about using Aguilar pickups on a jazz, or you're looking for a pair of single coils, there's a really great video on Aguilar's YouTube channel, which basically shows you they've got 4 sets, which are 60s, 70s, hot, and hum cancelling. To my mind, the hum cancelling ones have the jazz sound I want. But the video is great because they take a stock Lakeland jazz, and they it's Jonathan Maram, who's a New York session player, and he's doing the demo, and basically they fit each set of pickups into that bass and give you finger playing, slap playing, pick playing. It's a great way. In fact, I took quite a lot of inspiration from those videos for when I do video demos and reviews of basses and pickups. I really like the way they did it. And it's great. It's encapsulated in a 10-minute video. Perfect. So yeah, I hope the pickups work out for you. And the neck on it is gorgeous. There you go. Yeah. Size stuff is amazing for the money. Some of it is, some of it isn't. I've seen examples that were really great, really fabulous, and I've seen some that were just like, whoa, that's a bit off. And some of the hardware on some of the size, in fact, quite a few people I know who've bought size have either replaced pickups or hardware. But again, depends what you want, how much how much money you're willing to invest in retrofitting stuff. I've got a Marcus Miller V7 Mark II. Great. Drummer in Uncle Funk's just bought one, and he's really happy with it, so that's cool. Lack of band profile is down to the industry now. Yeah, I agree. It's nothing like the industry push and promo now. In some ways, I think it's better. Music's more local. Yeah, I'll agree with that. The B Bass 6 is the headed version of the Jack. Okay, I do remember a friend buying a 5-string Jack, and it had a headstock on it. And the reason I always remember it is it had a detuner on the bridge. So it wasn't like a hip shot at the tuner end. It was actually on the bridge. It was a black lever. That's the version I remember. You bought the one in GAC after trying it in Brighton. Cool. I thought P pickups were wired to hum cancel by default. Yeah, P pickups are. I thought you were discussing single coils, jazz pickups. Sorry, we were talking at cross purposes there. Yes, P pickups, generally, that's why generally a precision bass won't have the hum that a jazz bass has. You might still get some if you're playing in a venue with strip lighting, or if they've got, I don't know if it's phase, where the thing goes tick, 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 and sometimes a bass will pick that up. Sounds horrible. But yeah, if you've got 2 single coils, getting the hum cancelling set is great. Although I have to say, the bass that I put the 60s ones in didn't buzz that much, I never found. But again, every bass is different, some basses, just the shielding might not be great, or they might just have shielding paint as opposed to any foil or anything else. And if that paint sort of degrades over time, you might get a load of buzzing. Noisy pickups, you don't want them. You don't really. Cool. Thank you for all that, Andy. That's really appreciate it. That's a lot of chat. Well done, sir. If you're watching this video, this is Brooksy's Bass Corner. I'm Mike Brooks. Welcome to live chat number 20. You're very welcome. It's Monday evening here in London, in the UK, and wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, you are very welcome here. If you're listening to this after the event, you can catch up on the live chat. You can actually scroll through the messages. If you want to talk about anything that's on this video, or you got any suggestions or comments, put them in the comments section below the video, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. Or as soon as I read them, but sometimes I can read a comment and not have time to reply. So I will do my best to come back as soon as I can. So if you've watched the last 5 Mondays, which I've basically done a live chat every Monday evening, if you enjoyed them and you've sort of kept with me through the 5. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I was actually going to take a break next week for a couple of weeks because I'd like to try and line up the live chats with some of the videos that are going to be coming up on the channel, review videos generally. So what I'm thinking is that, if, for example, if I'm doing a bass review video or a pedal review, the video will go up and then a day later the live chat will follow. So if you've got any questions or comments about that first video, you can interact with me on here. And if you actually want to take things further, so you've seen what the demo or the review has said and what I've done and the actual audio examples. If you actually want to hear like a specific bass model played through that pedal, or if you'd like to see some other adjustments on a pedal, or if I'm playing a bass and reviewing a bass, if you want to hear certain tonal permutations, then we can talk about it while we're doing the live chat, rather than it just being me and questions. So we can actually do some demonstration stuff during the chat as well. So we will see. I'll think about it over the next couple of days. If there is a live chat, then I strongly advise you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and that will notify you that there is going to be a chat next week. Or you can follow on social media, Brooksy's Bass Corners on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. So if there's a live chat going to happen, all of those mediums will let you know. Also, there's the community tab here on YouTube. So if you're following the channel, click on the community section, and every day, sometimes 2 or 3 days, I'll post stuff up on there. So if there's a live chat going to happen, you're going to see it on there as well. But if you've got any questions you'd like to ask now, we can go for another 10-15 minutes. If there's suddenly a huge flurry of stuff, then we can make it longer. So if you want to ask anything about this video, any other videos that are on the channel, anything about Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player Magazine, you want to ask anything about any of the interviews that I've done, if you want to talk about gigs you've done this weekend, if you want some advice on gear, or you've just bought something and you don't know why something isn't working how it should, ask me. I might have either had the same piece of equipment myself, or I might have reviewed it and tested it in the past. If I know something and my experience can help you, then ask the question. All I can say at worst is I don't know, and at best I might be able to solve an issue for you. So if you've got anything you'd like to contribute to this live chat, stick it in the chat window and I'll come back to you. I'll reiterate what I said earlier. If you're looking at the chat window, there is an emoji icon, so you can add emojis to the chat if you so wish. Don't get too trigger happy because it just fills the chat window. There's also a $sign there, so if you want to contribute to the channel and keeping this going, if you like this video, if you like any of the videos on the channel, the $sign in this chat window is referred to as super chat. So if you click on it, you can donate to the channel, and that is all very much appreciated, of course. If you don't want to do it in the chat, but you want to watch some more content on the channel, all of the videos have a super thanks button underneath the video, which is a heart with a $sign in it. So if you see something you particularly like on either my channel or anyone else's on YouTube, you can hit that button and you can contribute financially to supporting the creator and their channel. So if you wish to do that, feel free. So where are we? Andy's now gone quiet. I really enjoyed that chat. Thank you for all that. That was great. Stacy, North Carolina, you still out there? Or have you gone to eat your lunch? I don't know. There's nothing in the chat window at the moment. What else do I need to tell you? So workshop videos, there's going to be some setup videos. Obviously there'll be a few more cleaning up videos because some of these bases haven't been cleaned for quite a while. I can see some dust on 1 or 2, and they only got wiped down with a duster a couple of weeks ago. So oh good, Stacey's still there. Very good, thank you very much. So there will be some cleaning videos. I've also got some stuff which I bought from Bass Direct here in the UK called Maple Butter. There's a company that does wipes for fingerboards, like fingerboard conditioning. They've got some stuff that is specifically for maple fingerboards called maple butter. And I bought some because I've got a Yamaha Attitude Limited 2 up there, which was bought secondhand. The previous player had obviously been a bit of a woodshedder because the underside of the fingerboard where it joins the neck is really dirty, and I've wanted to clean it up for a while. But also my Music Man Stingray here has a maple neck, an oiled one. It's not especially dirty, but I haven't cleaned it in a long time. I've never had anything that was specifically for maple, and I'm intrigued to see what this product does. If it does anything, it might do nothing for all I know, but I need to try it and test it and see what the results are. I have used fingerboard conditioners on the maple fingerboard before, and I have used Dr. Duck's Axe Wax, which kind of moisturized the timber pretty well. But I want to see just exactly what this maple butter product does. If it's rubbish and it doesn't do anything, I'll be saying so. If it works wonders and suddenly my maple fingerboards look really clean and they're gleaming, again, I'll be saying so. So keep an eye on the channel, and that stuff will be getting tested very soon. And then on top of that, I have some more Dunlop products to use, and there's also the Music Nomad range as well. I've got a set of that in the garage on the workbench, so we want to see how that works out. And then some let me think, what else was there? There was I had a couple of messages from people asking how's the best way to set up a Precision, a Jazz and a Stingray. What I think is the optimum isn't necessarily the optimum for someone else. If you're quite heavy-handed and you like heavy gauge strings and really sort of digging in, then what I think is the optimum might not be the optimum for you. But I can certainly do some videos showing the different options and permutations you can go for. For example, if you drop the action right down and you want it all super low without buzz, well, there's going to be a compromise there. There's also the adjustments to the truss rod, and then also on those bases, compared to for example, a flat radius status, you got to deal with the camber of the fingerboard. So you basically want the bridge saddles to match the camber, the arc of the fingerboard. So I have a set of gauges, and you can measure all this up, and then from there you can kind of work out how the bass needs to be set in order to make it play as well as it can. Stacey, setup videos, yes please. Good. Okay, well that's one vote. Anyone else like some setup videos? If you've got a specific bass or a specific bass model, you'd like, if you got a Stingray, you've got problems setting it up. You shouldn't have, but invariably people complain of poor G-string performance and output on a Stingray. Can't necessarily say I can solve that, but I can certainly give you some pointers in things you might want to look at. Again, every bass is different. The amount of Stingrays that play perfectly okay with a loud G-string performance and loads that don't. People complaining of their G-string on a Stingray sounding very weak and insignificant. So I think there is definitely a thing between the age of production, the year it's produced, the circuitry, the components of the circuit, how the pickup was wound. Some timbers, you could have 10 basses from a sample production and they're going to sound different anyway. But sometimes you just get a neck that is, it's not dead, but it just sucks all the frequencies out of the strings. And I've come across it before. Sometimes it's just the way that neck's going to sound, and no amount of electronic tinkering or replacements are going to change it. The best thing you can do is like having a dodgy car. If it's not floating your boat, move it on, get something else. And that's not just a Music Man Stingray thing. That can be different basses, especially with bolt-on necks. You can always buy a replacement neck, of course, but you've then got to go searching for one that's going to sound how you want it to sound. And no brand is infallible. The only thing I would say is graphite necks tapping these two. And phenolic fingerboards tend to limit that. They're a bit more, well, quite a lot more consistent, and have a specific tone to how they sound and perform. And that's one of the reasons I love graphite necks, but and also the fact they are so consistent in different temperature and humidity conditions. I have no problems with graphite necks ever. I have plenty of problems with wooden necks, so that could be a thing. Gary, how are you? Just seen you popped up there. Wired or wireless? What are we talking about here? Are you talking about the bass and then performing with a cable or going wireless? I'm happy to discuss that on here if you wish, because I've been doing quite a bit of that lately, going from one gig where I'm on a cable to another gig where I've got a wireless on. So we can do that if you wish, or are you suggesting I do a video about it? If you are, I need to do my keyword research, and I need to check on YouTube to see what viewing figures for those topics are like before I take the plunge and do it. But it's a good suggestion. Thank you very much. If you've got any input on that, are you in the same boat? Are you looking to go wireless, or are you saying you already are going wireless and you want to compare and contrast? I mean, certainly you could do a sound test, and you just obviously connect to your audio interface and see what the difference in output and tonally is. So that's a possibility. It's certainly a possibility. I bet you've just spotted those wireless units in that rack, haven't you? And that's what's prompted that suggestion. Although neither of those I can use at the moment because they're basically illegal, I think. They work on frequencies that have become unavailable over the past 10 years, and I think you can only use them if you've got a license to do so. And I'm not paying for a license, so I now use Line 6 stuff with their it's not their frequency range, but it's a different way of broadcasting, and it works great. So yeah, personally, wired or wireless, I don't really have a preference. Depends on the size of the stage, how many people are on it, how many musicians are on it. If you're in a tight little pub, wireless is great because you've got no cables to worry about really, but you're not going to be going anywhere. Then again, on a festival stage, you've got a big wide stage, you want to be covering some of that mileage, and a wireless really comes into its own. But very often lately, when I've been doing Uncle Funk festival shows, a lot of time I don't have my wireless with me because there simply isn't the time to set it up and connect it all up, and it's just more gear to clear up when you come off stage, and the techs and the crew are just literally clearing the stage. It's like I'm waiting for someone to bring like a snowplow on and just push it all off. So at the moment on festivals, I'm traveling as light as possible. So I literally have a bass, sometimes not even a gig case with all my cables and stuff in. I'll have it all in the gig bag, and either my pedal train board or a smaller, more bijou version, which I've been using quite a bit lately, which has just basically got a tuner, drop pedal, octave pedal, filter pedal, and an Aguilar tone hammer preamp pedal. And those are what I've been using pretty much for the past few weeks, just to sort of restrict the amount of stuff I have to carry and load on. If it's a function or a theatre, or there's time to do the whole caboodle, then yeah, I'll certainly have the wireless. And the Queen show I did on Friday in Torquay, anyone that's seen my social media pages, or if you looked at community tab, I had the big guns out. I had both of these Aguilar SL212 cabinets with me. I had a DB751 sat there, and I had the wireless system, the Line 6 wireless system, and then there was also a tuner in the rack as well. And I had my Aguilar AG700 was my amp backup, and it sounded fab. It really did. It sounded great, monstrously big. Didn't have it that loud because it would have just swamped the stage with bottom end, but it was just ringing out. And I had two precision basses doing the John Deacon thing. You'd hit a note and it just sang, and it was great. It wasn't feeding back, it was just sustaining, and it was just this smooth, lovely tube tone, but with everything the DB751 has to offer. And it was great. Bass heaven, it really was. But I have to say, carrying the DB751 about is enough to give you back issues for the rest of your life. But it was just great. And I don't use the 751 all that often because a lot of gigs it's just overkill. But for that show, I knew we were going to be loud. And I just wanted to hear it. It was great. And it just fired up. Left it on standby for about 20 minutes, let the valves warm up. Went into operation mode, and then it was like, great. It's lovely. So both the Precision sounded great. Rote sound strings through the Aguilar gear. Belting. Can't describe it anyway. It was just great. Just great. There is definitely a thing about there with a rig, a proper amp, and just playing. And it was really great sounding room, actually. Lovely stage. And yeah, I need to check out the recording I made because I'm sure it sounds great. So here we are. Let's have a look. We've done 1 minute and 6 seconds and sorry, teeth back in. 1 hour, 6 minutes, and now 28 seconds. So unless any of you have any other questions, if you have, put them in the chat window and I will deal with them right now. If no one messages within the next 60 seconds, I'll bid you good night. Keep an eye out on social media and the community tab for the next live chat. It might be one next week. Alternatively, there might not be one next week, and we'll give it a little short break for a couple of weeks. And then I'll try and, what's the word? Not combine, but interact the live chats with the videos that are coming up on the channel. So if you've enjoyed this live chat, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Please give the video a thumbs up. Give any videos on the channel a thumbs up if you enjoy them. The YouTube algorithm likes that sort of thing. If you're watching this video after the event, so it's no longer a live chat, you can still interact. Any comments in the comments section, and I'll come back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much to everyone who's subscribed over the past week. Numbers went up. It was lovely to see. Thank you. If you've got any comments or anything to do with videos on the channel and the content, then please let me know. So you can either put a comment underneath the video, you can send messages via the community tab, or you can react on social media to the channel on there. So hopefully a video up tomorrow, which will be the experiment video for this and these. He says these, the Road Sound strings. I'm just looking at the lovely shine on that phenolic fingerboard. If you've got a status or a graphite necked bass and you think my phenolic board doesn't look shiny like that, then I strongly suggest you watch the last video I put up, which was last week, which was called Clean and Set Up Your Status Graphite Empathy Bass. And I will show you how to make your phenolic fingerboard as dark and shiny as that. So I will bid you good night, guys and girls. Thank you very much for your company. Thank you everyone who's contributed to the live chat tonight. It's been great. Thank you. Enjoy the content on the videos on the channel. If you wish to contribute to the channel, underneath every video on Brooksy's Bass Corner, you will see a super thanks icon, which is a heart with a dollar symbol in. If you wish to contribute financially to the channel, which allows me to book studio time, allows me to buy products that are going to be reviewed and featured in the videos, and just to generally keep the channel going. And also there's going to be merchandise soon. I hadn't mentioned that. That will be coming very shortly as well. So if you would like a Brooksy's Bass Corner t-shirt, mouse mat, iPad cover, pens, coasters, the list goes on and on. If you're interested in some merchandise, let me know. Let me know what things you guys are interested in buying. That will be another way for you to support the channel. And hopefully, if we do take a couple of weeks off of the live chat, there's a possibility I might have some merchandise samples by the time of the next live chat, which would be interesting. Oh, right. I've got a flurry of questions. Gary, yes, bass to pedal board amp, pros and cons. So I can do this now, or we can do it as a video. I'll rattle it off quickly. Stacy, most likely I'd vote for a workshop setup video like you did for the status and for a few bases you own. Noted. That will happen. Okay, Gary, yes. Bass to pedal board amp, pros and cons. Right. Okay, so the differences between going from bass to a pedal board out to the system and bass to amp. Right. Bass to amp, obviously you've got something there you can manipulate. If you're doing it with a cabinet, because so many amps now, you don't have to have a cabinet, you can just use an amp straight into the system. But if you've got an amp and a speaker, then you have some form of reference. If you're going on in-ears and there's no monitoring on stage, it's all in-ears. If you've got the amp and the cab, obviously you can hear. You've got a point of reference. That is acting as your monitor for the bass signal. Bass to pedal board just means you've got far less gear to carry and lift, and if the amp went down, and I love doing the travel light thing, I really do. It's been eye-opening over the past 12 months. I did a pub gig, not this weekend gone, the weekend before. I did a gig in Covent Garden, just took a bass, a couple of cables, small pedal board, did the gig, packed up within about 3 minutes, and I was back on the tube, which is great. There was no carrying gear through crowds of people and, you know, having a drive and loading it in and out of the car. But clearly, if you are on IEMs and there is no monitoring, having an amp and a speaker is going to give you far more coverage, and it's a safeguard. And I have done gigs on gigs where there's time. Festivals, you have no time. It's just, unless you've got crew and staff doing all the setting up for you, you haven't got time. So you literally got to come on, set your stuff up, go and get changed if you're wearing a costume or something, and you're on. On a theatre gig or a wedding or a corporate event, you've got time to set stuff up. So in that situation, if I know I'm going to have space and I want that extra sort of monitoring situation, then yes, I will take an amp and a cabinet and go with that. If I know in advance that there's going to be monitoring, then you can plan accordingly. But if you don't and you're going in blind, then generally I might carry all the stuff in the car, get to the gig, find out what we're going to need or what I'm going to need, and then I just pick from what's in the back of the car. You know, Friday I did with the two cabinets and the DB751. I could well have not needed the second cabinet, but I just kind of knew on that theatre stage, and I'd seen that Queen band play a theatre near me, and they were loud, and I knew that Freddie would want loud bass, so that's why I took both cabs. And if he'd said, look, we don't need to, I could have left it on stage and just unplugged it or put it back in the car, but as it was, I needed it all. Yeah, if I turned up for the Queen show and just gone via pedal board, that's fine, but there would have been some bass end missing on the stage, and that particular band and that Freddie likes having that that level of bass on the stage. But yeah, look, next live chat, bring that up again, Gary, and we'll discuss it further. So here we are. It's we've done this for an hour and a quarter, so I'm going to bid you all good night. Thank you very much for everyone who's contributed to the live chat. It's been a lot of fun. New video hopefully up tomorrow. If it doesn't go up tomorrow, it will be Wednesday, but I think it will be tomorrow. And then just please keep an eye out for the follow-up videos as part of this experiment to see how long a set of rotor sound strings lasts on this status empathy. It might be 2 gigs, it might be 10 gigs, it might be 30 gigs, it might be 100 gigs, who knows, but we're going to find out. So I will bid you good evening wherever you are in the world. Have a great morning, a great afternoon, or a great evening. Thank you very much for joining in. It's been very much appreciated. Hopefully see you soon, but keep an eye on the community tab and the social media channels, and you will know when the next live chat is happening. Or you can subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and you will get notifications when there is new content or a live chat pending. On that note, I will love you and leave you. Take care. Have a great week. Enjoy your gigs if you're playing. and look forward to seeing you all soon. Take it easy. Good night.